the quiet darkness of an Alabama night, a man who loved deeply and who trusted too easily took his final breath inside the home he believed was safe. His name was Clint Bonnell, a husband, a father, a man trying to build a peaceful life. But the person he trusted most was the one who destroyed it. Behind every closed door lies a truth. Behind this one was a betrayal so cold, so calculated, it still echoes through the small town where it happened. This is the story of Shana Cloud, a woman who turned love into a weapon and a marriage into a trap. A story of manipulation, greed, and a plan so dark that even seasoned investigators were left stunned. Because what happened to Clint Bonnell was not an accident. It wasn't a moment of rage. It was a blueprint for murder, hidden in plain sight. Case introduction. Clint Wayne Bonnell wasn't famous. He wasn't wealthy. He was simply a hard-working man from Alabama who wanted a fresh start after a difficult previous marriage. In 2021, he met Shana Cloud, a woman whose charm seemed to light up any room she walked into. At least, that's how it looked at first. Clint fell hard. He believed he had finally found someone who loved him for who he was. But the people around them began noticing something different. A shift, a tension, a shadow behind her smile. And slowly, those closest to Clint began asking, "Is something wrong?" The answer to that question would soon come. Violently and on a night no one would forget. Clint and Shana's relationship moved quickly. Too quickly, some would later say. Within months, they were living together, sharing finances, and talking about starting a life as a married couple. But behind the scenes, the cracks were already forming. Shana was controlling, jealous, obsessed with Clint's phone, his whereabouts, his paycheck, his past. Friends noticed Clint becoming quieter, more withdrawn. His once bright and easygoing personality grew dim, almost nervous. He stopped visiting people. He stopped talking about what bothered him. He stopped laughing the way he used to. One coworker later said, Clint wasn't Clint anymore. And then came the money problems. Shana demanded more control over bills, accounts, insurance policies. She made Clint feel guilty, ashamed, even afraid to question her. But Clint loved her, and love can make people blind. In the weeks leading up to the incident, neighbors reported loud fights, personal belongings thrown outside, shouting late into the night. Something dark was boiling inside that house, something ready to erupt. And on one fateful night, it did. It was near midnight when the 911 call came in. Shana Cloud, frantic, claiming Clint had been shot. Her story was shaky, inconsistent, shifting from panic to calm and back again. When deputies arrived, the scene felt wrong. Too quiet, too staged, too clean. Clint Bonnell was found unresponsive, a fatal gunshot wound ending his life instantly. But what struck investigators immediately wasn't just the tragedy. It was Shana. Her tears didn't match her words. Her behavior didn't match the timeline, and her story didn't match the evidence. She said it was an accident. She said Clint had caused it. She said she didn't know what happened. Her version shifted with every breath, but the crime scene did not lie. Ballistics showed the shot came from a direction inconsistent with an accident. Gunshot residue tests told another story, and detectives noticed something chilling. There were no signs of forced entry, no intruder, no struggle, just Clint and Shana. The truth was beginning to surface, and it was nothing like the story she was trying to sell. The sheriff's office launched a full-scale investigation, and what they uncovered was far darker than anyone expected. Detectives interviewed neighbors, friends, co-workers, and the picture they painted was disturbing. Clint was living in fear. He told multiple people he wanted to leave, but "I'm scared of what she'll do." Shana, meanwhile, had a history of violence, manipulation, and threats. Former partners described her as explosive, capable of cruelty, and skilled at playing the victim. Detectives discovered changes to life insurance policies, bank accounts, and financial documents, many recently updated in ways that benefited only one person, Shana Cloud. Phone messages told the rest of the story. Fights, threats, manipulation. Messages where Shana implied she'd ruin Clint's life if he ever tried to walk away. Within weeks, investigators had enough. The truth was undeniable. This wasn't an accident. This was a premeditated killing, calculated. and executed by the woman who was supposed to love him. Shana Cloud was arrested and charged with Clint Bonnell's murder. In court, Shana tried to portray herself as the victim. She cried. She claimed self-defense. She told the jury she was terrified of Clint. But the evidence crushed her story. The ballistics, the timeline, the financial motive, the witnesses, the digital messages. Piece by piece, the prosecution dismantled her lies until the courtroom fell silent, the truth standing bare and undeniable. The jury deliberated. When they returned, their verdict was as cold and final as the act itself. Shana Cloud was sentenced to a lengthy prison term, a punishment many felt still fell short of the life she stole. For Clint's family, justice was bittersweet. Nothing, no sentence, no verdict could bring him back. Cases like this force us to confront an uncomfortable truth. The greatest danger often comes from the people closest to us. Most victims of intimate partner homicide never see the final blow coming. Why? Because they trust the person standing over them. Shana Cloud displayed traits consistent with narcissistic manipulation, emotional volatility, and coercive control. The kind of psychological patterns that escalate over time until the victim feels trapped inside their own life. Clint wasn't weak. He wasn't foolish. He was simply in love, and love can be the most powerful blindfold of all. This case is a reminder of the hidden wars happening behind closed doors. The quiet victims, the silent suffering, the people afraid to speak until it's too late. In the end, Clint Bonnell's story is not just about a life taken. It's about a warning. Evil doesn't always look like a monster in the dark. Sometimes it looks like the person lying next to you. And in this case, it wore the face of Shana Cloud,